Okay, we've talked about indexing and how we can determine the length of a sequence, in our case a string, using the len function. Now let's see other operations on strings. First, one more thing about indexes, you can find out the index of a character inside a given string by using the index method. Just remember that this method returns only the first occurrence of that particular character in the string. So let's create a variable a and assign it the string Cisco switch. You can clearly see that the letter I appears 2 times inside the string. So let's find out the index of the first occurrence of I in this string. A.index of I. So we have the name of the variable associated with the string, then a dot, then the name of the method, index, and then in between parentheses we enter the character we want to find out the index for I. Don't forget to enclose I in single or double quotes since this letter is also of type string. Okay, so this returns 1 as being the index of I in the string, which is correct since it is the second letter inside the string. Another useful Python method is one that helps you find out how many times does a character appear in a string or, generally speaking, an element inside a particular sequence. This method is called count. The syntax of count is similar to the one of the index method you've seen earlier. To use the count method, just type in the name of the variable, so a, then a dot, then the word count, then open and close parentheses, and finally the letter you want to count surrounded by quotes. So a.count of I returns 2, so we have I 2 times inside our string, which is correct. Another string method is find. This method simply searches for a sequence of characters inside the string and, if it finds a match, then it returns the index where that sequence begins. So let's see that. Let's type in a.find and let's say SCO. So the result indicates a match starting at index 2, which is correct, 0, 1, 2, since the letter S is positioned at index 2 within the string. On the other hand, if Python does not find a match, then it will return the value -1. So let's see this. Let's search, for example, for the string XYZ within our string Cisco switch, and we see -1 being returned. That's because we don't have the substring XYZ within the string referenced by variable a, obviously. Okay, let's see what else. We can also use some predefined Python methods to turn a string from uppercase to lowercase or vice versa if we want that. This can be accomplished by using the lower and upper methods. So, returning to our string, let's perform a.lower. Now we can see our string in lowercase only. Great. Similarly, let's do a.upper. And now all letters have been converted to uppercase. Sweet. Keep one thing in mind here. Although we have just applied the lower and upper methods, the initial string is still the same. No changes have been applied. So let's check A, and indeed that is correct. Furthermore, this is a great proof that strings are indeed immutable. You can also verify that a string starts or ends with a particular character or substring. We have 2 methods available for this. They are called starts with and, as you might have already guessed, ends with. Let's see them in action. So a.startsWith of C returns true. That's because it is true. C is the first character of the string. Now let's perform another check. A.endsWith, let's say age. This returns true as well, based on the same logic, because age is the last character in our string. On the other hand, let's also try a.endsWith of Q, and of course this returns false since our string ends in age, not Q. 3 important methods which you should keep in mind because you will use them a lot when working with strings are strip, split, and join. Let's test them one by one. First, the strip method eliminates all white spaces from the start and the end of a string. So let's say we have a new string, one with 3 spaces before Cisco and 4 spaces after switch. Now let's apply the strip method on string B and see the results. So B Strip returns Cisco switch without any spaces at the beginning and at the end of the string. That's nice and may be useful, so keep it in mind. Now consider that instead of 3 spaces on each side of the string, we had 3 dollar signs that we want to remove. So from a string that looks like this, we want to eliminate the leading and trailing dollar signs. For this, we should specify the character we want to remove in between strips parentheses. So c.strip of the dollar sign will indeed return a nice and clean string. But what if we want all spaces removed from the string, including those inside the string? Then we would use the replace method instead of strip. Let's return to the string referenced by variable b, which has spaces at the beginning, inside, and at the end of the string. You can use replace like this to get the string clean. So b.replace. This way you are actually replacing every space character, the first character in between parentheses, with a so-called empty string, the second character in between parentheses. It works, the result is the one we expected, so great job again. Now let's have a look at the split method. As its name implies, this method simply splits a string into substrings. Furthermore, you can specify a delimiter for splitting the string. The result of this method is a list. Don't worry, you will learn more about lists very soon. For now, let's see this method in action. Let's say that we have a string referenced by variable d, like this. The network device manufacturers in the string are delimited by commas, so the comma will be regarded as our delimiter for the split. What if we want to extract each provider from the string in a nice format? Well, in this case, the split method saves the day. Let's type in the following: d.split, and in between parentheses, in between double quotes, we enter the delimiter, the comma. Python returns a list where each provider in the string is an element of this list and can be further used into an application. You can split by any delimiter you have in a string and get a list of elements that were previously separated by that particular delimiter. Finally, we have the join method for dealing with strings. Let's remember string A. What if we want to insert a character in between every 2 characters of this string? So we want to change this string, as you can see it right now, to something like C_I_S_C and so on. For this, we will have to use the join method in the following way, and this is a bit different than the syntax we've seen so far with the previous methods. First, you type in the character you want to use as a separator or delimiter, enclosed by double quotes. So in our case, this would be the underscore character. Of course, you can use single quotes instead of double quotes as well. Next, you type in a dot, then join, and in between its parentheses, the name of the variable A. And now you can see that the result we were looking for has been achieved. By the way, this could be read like use the underscore separator to join the elements of string A. This is a translation in plain English. Please find a comprehensive list of string methods in the link I have attached to this lecture, since there is a huge number of such methods and we cannot cover all of them inside this course. However, you have seen the most useful and the most frequently used ones in this lecture.